Sense and Sensibility was a film that I recently did, and it was a remake of a classic, romantic film, but it was most of the characters were women of color. It's like shooting a film, but it's made for television. So it's a different than a sitcom, than an episodic, and then now you have a made for television film, and that one was a little bit challenging too because I did a lot of research in that time. It was the Regency time, and with that you definitely want to be spot on with the hair because you don't want to get clocked for not doing the right period. It messes up the whole thing. You have to really do your research with period pieces, especially, it's easier to find 60s and 70s, because, there was more pictures. Now you got paintings and images and drawings. You don't really have real photos of a lot of that stuff. A lot of it's, so, and you want to get that right. But also, too, they didn't have pictures of women of color back then. And the ones you did find, they had head wraps on, things like that.
They were in the background. They had their heads wrapped, and they were not out in front.
Right, and they were not really, but these are, different characters. So I had to reimagine what are women of color hair gonna look like for this, and we know, and so to not take them out of, this period, we had to create these looks that had like texture to them. Because they were, we know they weren't relaxing their hair. Relaxer wasn't invented. Pressing combs hadn't been invented yet. So their women, they had to have a lot of texture in their hair. But creating those sculpted looks that they wore, which I love all those. It wasn't quite the Marie Antoinette era. So it wasn't the big hair, but it was a little bit more, but there were specific looks for specific years. And I did a lot of research but the one great thing that we had on the set is we had a person who was, an expert of that time. And she would tell us, no, they didn't roll the hair. They rolled the hair with fabric. So when we had to do rollers, it was like fabric roll, certain things, like little things that you need to know. We had a person who also, so I did my research. I also checked with her. Is this right? Is this what would happen? Is this what we would do? Sometimes we take a little creative liberty, but you don't want to do too much of that because you really want it to look like the right period. And that was challenging and very intense for me because there was nothing to really gather.
You didn't have a reference point.
Didn't have a lot of reference.